Hello, guys, and this is amazing how a TV host of the state Azerbaijani TV channel mocked Vladimir Putin openly, loudly, and enumerating all the classical symptoms of the traditional Russian imperialism. But that was open and that was coming from the state Azerbaijani TV channel after a lot of other more important political steps were taken by Baku, and Baku is the capital of Azerbaijan, that is very dissatisfied with the Kremlin's attitude towards its former republics. And this is a tremendous change in the way Azerbaijan, Armenia, Kazakhstan, and many other countries of the region treated Putin and the Kremlin. For decades, they demonstrated respect. They kind of considered themselves a part of this Kremlin periphery, but not anymore. Well, first of all, it's pretty obvious because they are dissatisfied with the way the Kremlin treats other people on the planet, not just in Russia, but literally everywhere. And second, they realize how weak Russia is. And here I'm a little bit angry at the Western leaders at the White House who still consider Russia strong when even those that were once dependent on the Kremlin, like Azerbaijan or Armenia, want to break free and understand now is the best time because the Kremlin regime is collapsing. And today I will tell you a little bit more about this super complex and tense relations between Azerbaijan and the Kremlin now that is important for the weakening of the already weak Putin's geopolitical influence. And there are lots of similar tendencies in Armenia, in Kazakhstan, Iran and Syria, pretty obvious, and even Serbia. So let's talk about all of this because that is very important for the only working peace plan to defeat and demilitarize Russia. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see more Putin's humiliation, let's say somewhere in The Hague, subscribe, we will discuss that on the channel sometime really soon. And please share these videos if you share my opinion. So, the relationships between Azerbaijan and Russia were the ones that Putin were happy about. Because for decades, this country acted as if it was still very connected to Moscow, valuing the Soviet heritage and so on. But as all of them grew stronger, former republics, all of them realized that Russia is definitely not the center, just the country. And in the recent years, there are a lot of problems between Azerbaijan and Moscow. Recently, you remember, Russian air defense damaged an Azerbaijani plane, and they pretended nothing happened. For me personally, remembering, for example, lots of Soviet problems, it is perhaps the worst feature of these regimes, authoritarian regimes. Not even the problems that they create, but how they hide the truth and how they prevent people from saving themselves, for example, escaping from a bad situation or landing that aircraft in Chechnya or elsewhere. They pretended nothing happened, people only managed to land in Kazakhstan, and then the leader of Azerbaijan insisted that Putin speak openly about the accident because we all know Russia is a no-fly zone anymore. It is also an active war zone. Putin's blitzkrieg failed and they brought war back. But Putin did not say he was sorry, did not offer paying money back, and that already made the Azerbaijani people pretty angry. But then other demonstrations of disrespect and classical Russian chauvinism led to this serious confrontation that we witness right now. And trust me, people, it is way stronger than after that airplane accident, which I cannot name accident because it's Russian negligence and disrespect to the rules and human life. So, on Friday, in the Russian city Yekaterinburg, the one that Ukrainian drones also visit from time to time, a lot of people were arrested in specific raids of the police, the Russian police. And they have described this group of people that they wanted to arrest as ethnic criminal group, and you can guess all consisted of Azerbaijani people who were born in Azerbaijan but are Russian citizens now. Remember to subscribe to demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine. That's the easiest but still very effective way to support us. And, they decided to accuse these people of a crime committed back in 2001. Well, it doesn't seem very logical taking into account it's 2025 and they were not doing anything about it for 24 years. That is why the government of Azerbaijan decided it is directly connected to this negative attitude towards Azerbaijanis living in Russia. And they started demonstrating that dissatisfaction, especially taking into account that at least 2 people were killed during these arrests. And no, these are not normal police actions. I'm sure you can understand that. You can compare that with your police situations and tensions that, by the way, Russia inspires in very different corners of the world. So 2 people were killed. They claim because of a heart attack, but oh my God, what kind of the police arrest that was if people had heart attacks. And, the reaction of the Azerbaijan leaders was very direct, very open. And first of all, they spoke with the ambassador, but also they stopped all the cultural events, all the visits and tours of the Russian artists and actors, and that's super popular on that territory that Kremlin wants to influence. They typically send hundreds of various performers, so all of these events were cancelled. And the most important thing, Sputnik TV channel was visited. Actually, it was officially closed in Azerbaijan on the 24th of February. By the way, quite symbolic. And an important thing that I want to remind you, Azerbaijan supports Ukrainian territorial integrity. Thank you so much for that. By the way, I'm very interested if we have any people with Azerbaijan heritage or living in Azerbaijan watching this video. Let me know your thoughts, maybe correct my mistakes, but I'm very grateful that you support the international law and Ukraine's territorial integrity and that you fight against Russian imperialism together with us. So, cancel cultural events. All the political, economic, business, educational delegations of Azerbaijan to Russia that was scheduled now cancelled. But they also visited Sputnik TV, that is an outlet in Azerbaijan, and named a spade a spade. They arrested 2 FSB agents working there that continued working there despite the fact that on the 24th of February, the TV channel itself was closed, and it's directly connected with one of top Russian propagandists, Margarita Simonyan. So according to the Azerbaijani understanding of the situation, right now, there's Russian chauvinists that keep pushing this doctrine of the Ruski Mir, want Azerbaijani Russian citizens out of Russia because they don't correspond to the standards of Putin. Honestly, I don't think that is the reason, but in general, they are right. It was very common in times of the Russian Empire, in times of the Soviet Union, and now in times of the Russian Federation, which is just one and the same, simply rebranded Frankenstein. But with all that, they always disrespect other nationalities that are not Russian, but are a part of this monstrous project. They have always demonstrated disrespect to people from Belarus, to people from Ukraine, to people from the USA. Let's be realistic. You can never see this respect coming from Russia towards any other cultures. And those of you who traveled a bit, who stayed, for example, in the same hotels as Russian tourists did, I'm sure you know what they are. So this disrespect, this chauvinism, this outdated imperialism is something that the collapsing Russian imperial project is still breathing out, but looking at what happens with their economy, looking at what happens with their aviation, looking at what happens with their coal industry. By the way, there are lots of data about the majority of main coal industry companies collapsing in Russia. Let me know, would you like a separate video about that? But in general, our main task is to remain united, and that's why I'm sending lots of love and gratitude to our community, and to remain determined, to stand for freedom, to stand for dignity, to stand for respect of other cultures, languages that make this planet a richer place, and never repeat these imperial mistakes. And Russia is not about the future. Russia is about past, and what we are doing with Ukrainian drones and Ukrainian armed forces, we send them to the past, where they belong. Follow me on Instagram, X, Threads, Blue Sky, and Discord. All the links in the description of this video, same as the link to our merch shop with lots of good items and a special summer collection with really interesting images that remind about Ukraine's fight and may work as conversation starters, and that's exactly what we need. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, and helping me write and film more. Remember to follow me on Anna Danilchuk channel, where I have a new interesting video about Putin's strategy of fear, but it will fail because never underestimate Ukraine. And thank you so much for being friends of mine and friends of Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!